Welcome to Ramblings of a Madman series. This time we are going to talk about Google Stadia, newly announced cloud-based streaming service. Many things are still unknown about this cloud-based streaming service, but some things we do know. It's supposed to launch in 2019 in US, Canada and UK. I just don't think it will be ready in time, but maybe I'm wrong. Thing is, I don't think it has much of a future at all, as I'm going to explain why in this video, but I might be completely wrong. Note that I know very little about tech, so correct me in comments when I say something completely wrong tech-wise. Showcase was in controlled environment, meaning perfect conditions that none of us can replicate. Problems were evident even then, and seemed in some cases that button presses didn't register on screen, which would lead me to believe it is not true representation of what is going on. Google Stadia promises streaming games on most platforms like TVs, PC, smartphones and so on. That is great because it enables everyone to play games even without having consoles or PC. Non-PC users would need Stadia controller, which acts like service itself that connects to Wi-Fi and not the platform you are streaming on, as far as I understand it. PC users can hook up any USB-based controller. Here are the specs. This is far more powerful than any console today, almost twice as powerful as Xbox One X, which is promising. It can be also upgraded anytime without additional cost on user side, which is also a plus. Fantastic thing about Stadia is that games streamed from it won't need any installation or updates. Instead, choose any game, press button and play. Very convenient. Big selling point for Stadia is also interactivity with other users when streaming games. Ability to jump in multiplayer games and join on the fly, which we can already do on most gaming platforms if same game is owned. Some in-game interactions like changing levels, adding different challenges, basically screwing with the streamer. This reminds me of Dead Cells stream mode, where players can join and decide how to influence your gameplay. It is great fun, no doubt. To what level they can take this interactivity is unknown, but it could be a big selling point in future if they do it right. Also, button to pixel lag from Digital Foundry tests is quite good. At 60 frames per second it could be close to PC 30 frames per second performance and better than Xbox One X. Unfortunately, Assassin's Creed Odyssey game tested could only be run at 30 frames per second, which increases lag. It's kinda worrying that such game could not be played at 60 frames per second when this thing should launch this year. Definitely doesn't breathe confidence, does it? Now let's talk about some issues. Tests indicated that image quality took a hit during action-packed scenes in Assassin's Creed, with testing done in great but not perfect conditions. Also, this is not most taxing game you could play on such platform. Fast first-person shooters or action-packed games would be more problematic to run than Assassin's Creed, with more artifacts present on the screen that could be detrimental to overall experience. If Google can improve their encoder, although if YouTube is something to go on, don't expect much, then it could lead to smoother image quality. Question is, would multi-platform games like Assassin's Creed be just ports that could not utilize power of Stadia anyway? If that is the case, what is the point of it then? What worries me is censorship as well. As mentioned in my previous video, big companies started censoring content on their platforms. I'm almost positive Google will do the same and go even further with it. Google also announced they are going into gaming development to develop first-party games for Stadia. Now imagine Google's politically correct games. I have a picture in my head of transgenders running around picking up flowers and telling each other how brave they are. And that would be RPG genre, I guess. Everything would be family friendly with some added political brainwashing of young gamers. How I would look forward to reviewing their games, but Google Stadia is not for me, so I won't be purchasing it. Mainly because of bad internet, which most of the world has issues with. Google, being stationed in Silicon Valley, might not be aware that even Americans suffer from bad internet, let alone the rest of the world. Not to mention that many people still have bandwidth limit, which would prevent them from streaming games, especially in 4K 60 FPS, as Google has promised to deliver, which is kinda a stretch to be honest, but we'll see. It's not only speed that is the problem. In our homes there are many other factors that influence connection. Weather, walls, distance to Google servers, and so on. This could lead to much lower quality than showcased, which could lead to more lag, and there is nothing worse than lag in games. Question is also how stable would Google servers be and how often we could not play games because of maintenance or other factors. There is also a question of Google's support for Stadia. Google have already abandoned some projects that weren't going in their favor. How long would they support Stadia if it doesn't perform well? And I can't see it performing well until infrastructure gets upgraded everywhere in the world. Also, I fail to see the point of cloud-based streaming services in general. You are paying for worse experience than what console gives. Sure, you will save some space and money because you wouldn't have to buy games or the console. But PlayStation Network, for example, has fantastic deals all the time that lets you purchase amazing games for low price. And you can play these games offline whenever you want, without any outside influence that would lead to detrimental experiences like lag and artifacts on the screen. Google Stadia seems like it could be best cloud-based gaming service out there, but it is still just that, meaning it is aimed at few that have fantastic internet. For the rest of us, nothing will come close to good old reliable PC and consoles.